What's going on, guys? It's Jacob here, and I got my hands on this boxing game called Undisputed. I've been waiting on a boxing game for a really long time because as much as I enjoy the striking capabilities of a UFC game, I'm not the biggest fan of getting dragged to the ground and choked out for 3 to 5 minutes at a time. Nothing against the sport, I love watching UFC, but I think boxing games are just more fun. And I haven't had my hands on a boxing game since Fight Night Champion, which I probably beat like 3 or 4 times. This definitely serves as a spiritual successor to the Fight Night series, and it's been such a long time. I think there's a lot of good things, and there's a couple bad things, so I might as well just start with the good things. The good things are the game looks great. The graphics are decent. They have done a good enough job to where you can distinguish swelling on the face, and the cuts look real nasty. The motion capture of the different styles of fighting look really good. They also have access to a lot of newer boxers that are big in recent times, like Canelo Alvarez or Caleb Plant or Vasily Lomachenko, and a bunch of new guys like that. What else good did we do? The customization for your personal character, like more than the just aesthetic customization, there's a lot more variability in the style of boxer. You can pick outside fighter, swarmer, slugger, or boxer puncher when you first make your character for the career mode, which will give them associated buffs and debuffs. So like, if you're a slugger, you'll have like 20% more stamina, but 20% less block health, like that type of thing. I think boxer puncher is the only one without anything that just starts you off clean. And you can start off with a variety of different titled stat makeups, which puts you roughly around a rating of like 60 when you start the career. I'm super thankful that they chose the way to train your character that they did, because that was one of the big things I hated about Fight Night Champion is every time you wanted to train, you had to play a mini game, and that just gets very old very fast. But they do their own variation of managing stamina, skill points, fame, money, things like this. Very solid career mode. But in talking about the career mode, we've got to swap into some of the negatives. I think that it is unwise to make a career mode where once you take over your roster for your weight class, that you can't move up or down. That's something that is inherent in boxing and in fight sports. That's what leads to the title of being undisputed. Is when you start at middleweight and then you move your way up through cruiserweight, light heavyweight, and you just destroying everybody. There's so many fighters that have done it. So not being able to change weight classes kind of makes it so that higher level play just kind of gets boring. It's more fun in the halfway mark. It's difficult in the beginning when you don't have as many skill points, but this is nitpicky. You know, I wish we could switch weight classes. That would be cool. I think that they should consider releasing DLC with more legendary fighters. I'm looking for my Evander Holyfield, my Marvin Hagler, my Tommy Hearns. I might not have looked. It might be there, but there's not a super large roster of fighters. But what I will say is I think that this is the first boxing game that I've ever played, I could be wrong, where they have 2 weight classes and a roster for female boxers. That's not something that we're used to seeing. When it comes to the gameplay, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my PS5, maybe it's my network. I do experience some type of frame drop and like inconsistency in the graphics. Every once in a while, it doesn't completely break immersion for you, but if it happens 3, 4, 5 times in a row, you notice it. Also, their version of inaccurate punches can look comical and goofy. at some time. I can remember throwing a poorly ranged right straight and it shooting out of my fighter like a sloppy wet spaghetti noodle and doing absolutely nothing. Sometimes the arm animations can look like they need a little work, but all in all, I think those are my three big. And I don't think that these three criticisms are anything that are outside of the realm of them patching or fixing as they work on the game. So this game is in no way not fixable. Like, the package that you get is a solid 85% there. I just think that they could do a little more. They could fine-tune it, and they probably have been. I haven't been playing in the last few weeks, and I haven't seen how they've improved upon it, but I think that that's kind of what I'm left with as a first impression for Undisputed, is all of the nuts and bolts and mechanisms of what you need to make a good boxing game are there, but it feels like it's still cooking. It's not quite done. I don't want to be too harsh on it, but comparing it to the Fight Night series, for example, like counterpunching and head movement felt crisper and more rewarding in previous boxing games. It's such a strange feeling because visually in like for where we're at in 2024, it looks great and it looks so close to what I want it to be, but it needs some work. I don't know if I'll get into the habit of doing out of 10 scores, but I'm gonna once again serve up my second IGN 7 out of 10. And I think that's being generous. Some of the flaws become a bit more apparent when you try playing online and you realize that there's a lot of spammable exploits that if you pick the right character, I personally haven't had a good time online. Maybe it's a skill issue. Maybe I'm just bad. But it feels like balance is what this game needs. And I hope that they figure it out because they're off to a decent start, a decent foundation. I'm not mad at the money that I spent, but I hope that they improve it over time. Hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts on Undisputed, and I will see you in the next one.